Mandela Effect.
Effect. And so that's really the only thing Nelson Mandela has to do with this whole thing, is that a lot of people remember him dying in the past, way before he did. But he lived through prison, got out, and he died December 5th, 2013. So that's a Mandela Effect right there. It's actually named after a Mandela Effect. And anyway, thanks for listening, and I will see you guys next time.
One man, one decision, one voiceover. Critics are calling it sensational. Earth as we know it will never be the same. This will make for one epic trailer. Movie Voice. Download today.
The Mandela Effect. Okay, so as people that I live with know, the Mandela Effect's kind of freaked me out the last few days, right? Yeah. So I looked at the Mandela. I've been hearing about the Mandela Effect for a few months now. I didn't know what it was. So I watched something for like 1 minute, and I thought it was retarded, so I turned it off. And then last Friday, somebody that I know mentioned the Mandela Effect in another video about, like a shooting hoax. And they said something about the Mandela Effect. And I looked into the Mandela Effect on last Friday, and it freaked me out. And I was actually scared. It was like 4 a.m. till I went to bed at like 4 a.m. I felt like there was almost like a ghost in my apartment. I was freaked out. So some of the stuff, really, whatever. Anyway, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I never really watched the films. I've definitely never watched the full movie. I've seen it on TV, like bits and pieces. So I don't know about this. A lot of people say it's Luke, I am your father, and now it's no, I am your father.
He told me it now. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
What the fuck? No. He says, Luke, I am your father, okay? I've seen this movie 500-600 times, okay? He says, Luke, I am your father, alright? And it's not magic mirror on the wall, it's mirror on the wall. What the hell's going on? It's the Mandela Effect. Wake the fuck up.
So I asked this Star Wars famous woman, Nikki Blum. She's like been mentioned in the New York Times. She's head of a Star Wars organization, 8,000 members. She's obviously a big Star Wars freak. So I don't know. She knows a lot about Star Wars. She said that the correct line is no, I am your father. But a large percentage of the population says, Luke, I am your father, to refer to the whole scene, and it's just kind of stuck in pop culture that way. So I sort of take her word because she's such a Star Wars, person. But a lot of other people out there say, whatever. I never saw the movie. I'm surprised it says no, I am your father. But what could I say? So I also asked her about C-3PO, which I have no idea about anything about this character. But a lot of people say he used to be all in gold and now has a silver leg. So she says, I do recall C-3PO having a silver leg in the classic trilogy and also with both gold legs. The thing about this is, listen.
He always had silver, but one of the issues was that the silver leg actually always reflected other things that would reflect the gold leg, and it would reflect it in the desert, so it acted more as a mirror. And even the stills photographer, John Jay, came up to me one day and said, why are you wearing a silver leg today? Now, he was the stills photographer all the time, and he hadn't noticed. So we went one stage further, or JJ decided, let's make it noticeable with a red arm.
Home?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Walt, how you doing?
I'm all right. Just popping in for a second. I saw the chat. I didn't know what we were doing.
Me and you hanging out at the moment.
Cool. Is there a show planned for later this evening?
Yeah, I think so. Something about the Mandela Effect.
Cool.
I'm just watching a video on it now. It's quite interesting.
I've had a few that have kind of intrigued me as well.
Which ones mainly?
Well, the first one was the Berenstain Bears, because I grew up reading that. I was a voracious reader as a youth. I mean, I was reading before first grade. I had those books like late 60s, early 70s. And at that time, it was actually called the Berenstain's Bears with an apostrophe S, or S apostrophe. And I had, my mom taught me to read like phonetically, and so I understood possessive apostrophes, and I always wondered how the Bears could own themselves. And at that time, this was pre-internet, pre-information. We didn't know that the authors' names were Berenstein. So that's why it was called the Berenstein's Bears.
Uh-huh.
But then around 72, that changed to just the Berenstein Bears. Well, actually, when I was a child, I used to call them the Berenstein's Bears because I was a big Frankenstein fan. And being from in the South, there's not many Jewish names, so I didn't associate it as a Steen. To me, that was the same spelling as Frankenstein, so they were the Berenstein's Bears. 100%, no doubt. I know that because those two things, the apostrophe S and the familiarity with Frankenstein. So no doubt that's been changed. Now, whether it was done with some kind of CERN portal time loop or just they're doing this to see how much crap they can pull over on us to change history, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's your gut instinct?
At first, as I was digging into the whole thing, it was really feeling and reading like a psyop to try to figure out, like I said, just how much BS they can do to us now that they've got us all dumbed down with our diet and our fluoride and everything else. See how far they could push changing history right before our eyes, not just in the books, but like literally before our eyes. As I've dug into the CERN stuff and dug into to some of the origin stories that, like in even the Enochian books, they talk about the portals and historically that's where things come through is through portals. So I don't know, John, it's such a big mess to even go through it and figure it all out. I really don't know. I'm really torn between the two. I really can't say.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a real hard one to call, isn't it?
And then when you see the ceremony at the tunnel, the last one they did, and then the ceremony at CERN, and you begin to wonder. It's like, well, maybe there is something to all that.
I mean, what was that all about? That cost £8 million or something.
Something ridiculous, and definitely not art that I know. Oh, I didn't realize I had my camera on. I know it affects sound sometimes.
You got the camera on?
I did. I turned it back off because I know it messes the sound up sometimes. Oh, I'm looking at your picture now. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, I do.
Is that how you remember it, or it was?
No, it was EIN. There's no doubt. It was EIN apostrophe S until like 72 or 73, and then they took the apostrophe S off of it, and it became the Berenstein Bears. And then later on, I understood that it was probably a Jewish name, so I started saying Berenstein. But when I was young, it was the Berenstein's Bears.
Yeah.
Without doubt, 100%.
Well,
the other one? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, carry on.
The other one I'm 100% on is very weird and obscure. And all right, the color, chartreuse.
Right.
For you is what?
Chartreuse. Reddish? Is that right?
Yes. It's like a maroonish, purplish color.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. You're correct. However, if you look it up right now, it's not. It's like a baby shit green color. I swear it is, man. Now, the reason I know that one 100% is, when I was a kid, I was probably just into a lot of things that most young children that age weren't. In the early 70s in America, there was a craze of CB radios.
Oh, yeah.
All the truckers had them. My family all had one in their vehicles. A lot of it was because my uncles were all working for this oil company, and they were always going off on these locations that were way off in the woods and having to find these rigs, and so they wanted to keep in communication. But it became a fad in America to the point that there were movies made about CB truckers, and there was a song called Convoy.
Yeah, and the film.
And a film, exactly, with Chris Christopherson. Well, that song, I loved it because I loved story songs when I was growing up. Any song that told a story, I loved it. And I played with a CB radio all the time in my grandmother's car and in my uncle's car and all that. The only thing about that song I never understood, I knew all the jargon they were using. I knew what it all meant. The only part I couldn't understand is there's a lyric in there that said about some of the people in the convoy that they had 11 long-haired friends of Jesus in a chartreuse microbus. I could figure out that a microbus was probably a small VW thing that I'd seen driving around town, but I didn't know what chartreuse was. So I went to a dictionary and looked that word up to find out what chartreuse meant, and it was a purplish maroon color. I've known that. Every time I see that color, I think there's chartreuse. So when I looked it up recently and all this Mandela Effect stuff, and it's this green color, it really messed me up. I mean, that one kind of shocked me a big amount because it was just like, no, I know that's not what color that is.
How do you spell chartreuse?
It's really hard to spell. I think it's like CHARTREUSE, maybe?
CHARTRUS.
Or maybe EUS.
Yeah. No, it's CHARTREUSE.
There we go.
Chartreuse images. Oh, you son of a bitch.
And what's really funny is when I asked that question to all my family members, about half of them said it was like a maroon or a purple color, and half of them said, no, it's like a weird green color. So that's really strange too.
Yeah, well, it's like a generational thing, isn't it? It's really
It could
odd.
be. It really could be.
Or just a situational thing. If you ask someone, build it and they will come, or build it and he will come, then you're going to get half the people saying he and half the people saying they.
Yes.
Fucking hell. Google's just stopped working. Are you looking at my screen at the moment?
No, let me go back. Oh, I see.
I'm trying to just look up chartreuse in images. I would have thought it would just give me, colour, but
Yeah.
obviously it's heaven and there. But I was thinking about this earlier, because not being a religious or person who follows the Bible or anything along those lines, purely because I don't know, but I haven't even read the Bible in total yet, but in Genesis 1 it says, it goes, in the beginning God made the heaven and the earth, yeah?
Actually, and the reason I'm going to say this is because this has become something like that ties into the frequency thing I believe we're all using. But the first thing is, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
And what
then it moves
version is
on
that?
to the creation. So before any creation happened, there was a frequency and a vibration that caused it to happen.
And what version does it say that? Because, there's
Hang on a
hundreds.
second. Something's going on with my phone. Oh, I'm getting a call. How do I answer it?
No worries. Let me try and get shut.
Okay.
We were talking about the Mandela Effect. We were talking about the Bernstein and Bears. And I brought up Genesis 1. In the beginning, God made the heavens and the earth. And I was wondering how other people remembered that.
I remembered it the same way.
Because I remember
personally.
Well, I've never read the Bible fully. I will step out quite frankly and say that. But I always remembered it as, in the beginning, God made the heaven and the earth. And I don't know why, but that is what it says in the King James Bible version.
Yep.
But in the New International Version, it said, in the beginning, God made the heavens and the earth, which, it's the first few lines of the Bible, that's a pretty big thing.
Oh, for sure.
That's a massive thing. So the King James says, in the beginning there was...
God created heaven.
God created the heaven and the earth.
The earth, yeah.
And in the New International Version, in the New English translation, in the Jewish version, I went through all the tabs along the top, basically, and compared them all. And about 50% of them said heavens and 50% said heaven. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a huge deal.
Well, it is, and just the wording, insinuates that their message, right? That it's not unique, that it's not one heaven. Because I always remembered as in the beginning, God created heaven and the earth, not heavens, just heaven.
Yeah, same here.
So,
and they did it again, as far as I can remember. He said something along the lines of
the transgressions and the deaths, because I figured that one out.
No, it was God and gods. Elohim and Elohim, or something.
The B'nai Elohim and the Elohim.
That's right. Or the B'nai Elohim is the sons of gods, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, there was a thing where it said, I'm not good enough on the Bible
to quote it.
Yeah, to talk about it.
The idea is what's important, though, and that is that no matter what, we know that they have infiltrated that book by design to mislead Christians, right?
They changed it. We know they're changing it for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I read somewhere that, and I'd have to look this up, but I read that the Bible was sort of copyrighted, and every time they made a new translation of it, they had to change it because of copyright law. They had to change at least 10% of the content every time they translated it into a new translation. So right there, you've got evidence that it cannot be an original translation because they're required by law to change it 10%.
Yeah, but then I don't understand how, when they dig out the Dead Sea Scrolls years later, that it literally translates line by line, consonant by consonant from where they found it, in Ethiopia and in America and in Europe. That kind of screws that up.
I see what you're saying. But if they're only changing, say they're changing 10% here, there, and everywhere, and they're only changing the heaven into heavens and the God into gods, and they're just adding S's here, there, and everywhere, and R's and
that
G's.
Doesn't change the text. You're right.
It doesn't change it at all, but it changes it completely fundamentally.
If you're a writer or you know anything, you're gonna know how huge that change can be. Just with plurals and
And if you've got thousands of years to mull over it and see how you can change it one letter at a time to completely... I mean, look at Sitchin's stuff.
Oh, God, yeah.
We don't know whether that was entire paragraphs changed or, the odd letter here and there. But in the Bible, you can see that, heaven as opposed to heavens is a massive difference if you're coming from a heliocentric point of view, Big Bang evolution heliocentric point of view, or a geocentric creationist non-evolutionary point of view. That's a massive difference.
Absolutely. And
hey, what's up, James?
Hey, my man. There he is.
Hey, man, I hung up on you a while ago trying to answer a call from my sister. I apologize. And John, I was wrong, man. I'm thinking New Testament. That's like I think in the first part of John, maybe, or maybe the first part of Mark. What I was telling you about the word, you're right. You were right.
Matthew 1, maybe.
Something like this was saying. I know that's New Testament. That's New Testament beginning area. That's not. You're right about the. Because I've been really thinking about that in respect to the cymatics and the sonoluminescence and the whole idea that vibration is what keeps all this going and frequency, and the word created us.
Yeah. Oh, vibration. Yeah. I mean, ultimately in the beginning, boom, there was vibration, and who knows.
I mean, see, the thing I always keep me grounded, and I can only speak for me, but might enlighten you guys to where I come from, is the whole fact that these entities, people, governments, baddies, whatever you want to call them, the fact that they're manipulating the book tells me that I'm on the right path. It tells me that there's something there that they don't like. That tells me that maybe they acknowledge a creator and serve another one. So that's what I keep in mind.
I wouldn't have thought I would have said this a year and a half ago, but it's really, really, really beginning to look exactly like that to me as well. Because, I mean, like I told somebody just yesterday, I think it might have been when we were talking to, I'm not sure who it was, but, whether you believe it or not, whether you believe that there's a dark entity that they get their power from, they believe it, and they're using it, and they do it. I mean, they do it. There's no doubt about the rituals they do. I mean, just look at like John and I were talking about all the tunnel ceremony and CERN crap. I mean, they believe it, and they're in charge.
Yeah, and the one thing they all share in common is that they despise anything to do with God and the real Jesus Christ, not the fake one. They despise it, and their mission, their whole mission is to destroy it and make it backwards. So that's what got me back to God, honestly, was the fact that these evil entities that I've researched for 10 years despised the God from the Bible. And then I started looking into that, and all roads of research and everything led to you're either on Satan's side or God's side. So
what names did these evil entities present themselves to you as? I mean, archons and etc.
I think they're all descendants of the Nephilim, and they have all gone by different names. Like, you want to call them Enki, Anunnaki, Nephilim. They're all the perverted sons of the fallout that happened in the war.
That's what I agree. I agree with that, James. I do too. I think that's part of it, big time, and that's where all the deception from the alien crap that we've heard for all this time comes from. That's where all the deception throughout all the ages came from. The little people, the changelings that took the babies. They've always wanted our children. They've always wanted to mess with our genes. They've always wanted to play with our blood.
That's the master thing, because that's their big fight, right? They lost one time, and this whole time they've been preparing for that second fight, that second chance where they think they can actually win, but they're never going to win. And that's what I believe. So.
Or maybe they're trying to trick us all into freaking getting them out of here too. Maybe they're trapped here. Maybe this is where they were cast down to, and they're trapped here, and they're trying to use us and our technology and all this CERN bullshit to break free, quote unquote. Maybe that's why the whole turning it upside down thing they like to do with the Bible is what they do, because instead of a end time where all these things are coming, all those stinging creatures and flying, with the sting, it's going to be the reverse of that. It's going to be them trying to get the hell out of here. On their way, they'll fuck with us on the way out, trying to get out. I don't think it'll be an invasion. I think it'll be an exodus.
I mean, good point. I agree with that. Of course, they've been trying to get out, I think, for years, but they can't. But another thing I like to think about is, the people involved in these groups that are practicing this, they have no motivation to openly attack religion or God and the Bible and despise it. It's no gain to them to actually attack it. So it leads more credibility to the fact when they say, we make it a point to sing hymns backwards, and the demons love it. They extra love it when you mock Jesus and his word, and so it just adds more to the fact okay, maybe this is real, and maybe they do want out, and maybe they're working with humans the whole time to try and hatch some plan to fucking reverse the judgment from way back, the first fight, the first falling, and they can't. But this is what's happening.
Just to be clear here, James. So we're talking about, a collection of words. I can come up with archons, demons, fallen angels, watchers, Nephilim, giants.
Yep, men of renown, old men, giants. Yeah. The Greek stuff, Zeus, they're them as well.
The Titans, the Titans, the Atlanteans.
Yep.
Giants. Just so that, even to the point where you're talking the reptilians when you're going back to Maya and this sort of thing.
Agree.
The serpent gods and all the rest
all
of it.
The same.
All the same.
All the same.
So all these people that are saying, beware the so and so, beware this, beware that. We're all essentially talking about the same sort of thing here. Is the archons or the fallen angels or this bloodline or a non-physical immortal spirit that can't die.
And what I'm saying, John, is if you research and you look at those links, they're there. They are there.
They're everywhere.
Because I've done it. I've looked 5 years into that stuff. I've seen them all linked up together, and it's kind of fun when you finally reach the end and you connect the dots, and you're like, wow, okay, here's the leap after the flood. Here's them today. Here's the connection to the British family. Here, this confirms this. Here's the, the governments. Here's the council. Here's everything. Yeah.
You realise basically that it is all one story.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It all fits together. And that's what this last year and a half or so of Flat Earth finally showed me, that all these different areas of research that I've explored and then left and explored again and left again. Or
it comes down to good and evil. Good and evil,
all comes back to exactly that.
Yep, God is real. The war happened. You better pick a side because the day is coming. Literally. How simple is that?
Well, for all those people out there that are, believers in the reptilians or believers in the space aliens or believers in the archons and the Gnostics and all the rest of it, then this just goes to show that it is all the same thing, and we're literally need to get together and stand up for humanity.
Exactly. Dispense with all the leaderish bullshit and do it ourselves.
Pretty much. But they're going to twist and manipulate. Go ahead.
No, I just say we definitely outnumber them. So it's just as long as they have us or have the majority fooled into thinking that they hold the power, they do. As long as the majority believe that. But once they stop believing it and stand up, we do outnumber them quite considerably.
Yeah, I think so. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I've often thought of how hard a deal it would be to refuse, think about it. These people that don't have real hope, that haven't grown up with opportunities and stable families and a good education and some values, if they have the opportunity to make a deal for, say, earthly pleasure, like get rich, get famous, have an impact, have whatever you want, but literally it's a contract. That's quite appealing.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty hard to turn down if you don't really have some real faith and
If you don't have the background, right, and if it's fed to you daily on the television that's what you should aspire to, is to be on TV or be rich on TV or be famous on TV or whatever on movies and music. If that's what they show you that you desire, then of course, as soon as that offer gets put to you, there it is. All right, let's know as soon as I know, James.
See you in a bit.
All right, later.
Cheers. Have you looked into that stuff? I find the story fascinating about how the original fallen angels taught men the art of war, the art of abortion, the art of makeup, the art of astrology, the skies.
Sacred sciences.
Yeah.
Also known as the quadrivium and the trivium. But they're the corrupted versions of the quadrivium and trivium.
Those are the basic 4 subjects or arts, that were taught after they taught the trivium, right? You're correct.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which is what's it? Music, geometry, astronomy.
It's 6th century for sure. I remember it's heavily old, and it's kind of like
what I've got to hang up on is
math, geometry, music, astronomy. Sorry.
That's right. That's the quadrivium, and then you've got the trivium. And it's all based on logic, rhetoric, and the other one. I don't know. What do you make of it? What how do you understand it?
I understand it like kind of like I see it more like a little brotherhood again. Could be like another Illuminati. The Gnostics are always quite secretive to me, and they're known for just shunning the rest of the material possessions in the world, right?
Yeah, right.
And they just, because their whole idea in my mind is that they only are centered in the spiritual world, or so they say. That oneness, kind of like the hippies, that oneness with God, Buddha, or the energy.
Well, the way I understand it is that Adam was taught the 7 sacred sciences by God in the Garden of Eden, and once it all went pear-shaped, it was Adam had what? Seth, Ham? No, that was Noah. Adam had Cain and Abel and one more.
I forget. I should know this, but I don't.
Gareth maybe, or something along those lines. And obviously, Cain and Abel went their separate ways, and Cain
offed his brother.
Yeah, and he corrupted the 7 sacred sciences.
The thing you got to remember though with Gnostics, and again, I'm quite aggressive with it. It's all ancient Egyptian Syrianism, like mysticism, right? All of this shit goes back to the same freaking stuff, which is right post flood in places like the ziggurat in Babylon, right? It all goes back to Babylonian sun worship.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm talking about is all antediluvian. It's before the flood.
Oh, okay.
And then Enoch, basically, there was a good Enoch down the line of Ham, I think it was. And then there was a bad Enoch down the line of Seth. Mm-hmm. And bad Enoch was teaching, they are the Nephilim that were, like, say, there were the 10 giants Nephilim that were controlling the earth in their own kingdoms or whatever. And Seth was teaching the Syrians and that
it was the 7th son down from Adam, actually, the 7th generation, right?
Yeah, Enoch, the bad Enoch or whatever it was. And
but he was also. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, Karen.
He was also one of only 2 men who God took and just actually like disappeared. Took them.
Yeah. If you. That depends on whether there was 1 Enoch or 2 Enochs. The book I'm reading at the moment is there were 2 Enochs. One from the line of Noah and one from the line of Cain.
That's the first. That's quite controversial. That's the first I've heard of that.
Well, there's a book I'm reading at the moment called
The 2 Enochs.
Genesis. Called the Genesis 6 Conspiracy. Written by a guy called Gary Wayne. He's done a couple of recent. Well, I listened to, I think it was a 2-hour podcast interview that he did, and ended up buying the book and thought, yeah, that's absolutely awesome, because he takes the Genesis 6 story from all different angles, say from the Gnostics, from the Freemasons, from the Sumerians, from the Mayans.
John,
Yeah.
I've go to the page where the chat is, and I put a link up, and I think I found what you were talking about.
Okay. What were we talking about?
I'll just read it to you. So here it goes. Wait. The two Enochs.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Fuck it.
And the seven sacred sciences, and I think one of the Enochs corrupted them, and that turned into Freemasonry. And he also left an obelix, or a huge shaft with. He also invented hieroglyphs.
You mean the Master Mason is what you're talking about?
Yeah,
what's his face?
Enoch. Apparently, this is Freemasonry in Freemasonry text is that they lay praise to Enoch, and they've either corrupted the original Enoch and tried to hijack him and kidnap him and turn him into their god, or there were two Enoch.
Interesting.
That's what I thought. Because I got no horse in the race. I don't care either way. But this is what I'm reading, and the evil Enoch is responsible for putting out Freemasonry and all these other sort of things. The one that really bugs me is astronomy and astrology. Which one is right? Which one is pagan and which one is not, and which one, that there's a lot of discrepancy there in the Bible, or in Scripture.
Definitely.
But yeah, there's definitely something going on with Enoch.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, man.
And this could be the reason why they left Enoch out of the current Bible.
See, I was into Enoch heavy about a couple of years ago, and I found some very interesting stuff. That was just like, even the certain publisher of the Book of Enoch, put out the book under a Satanistic publisher.
Yeah. What was it, Lucis Trust or whatever?
The Book of Enoch, and I had a physical copy of it because I bought it for a friend. And if you look into it, the commentary there, hold on.
That's the point. I've only ever listened to the Book of Enoch. I've never read it, and I've never seen. So, what I've listened to may not be accurate either. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Apparently, there's two versions of it as well, right? The Ethiopian one and the other one, I think. Had you heard that?
I've heard there's numerous versions of it, all translated, much like the Bible. But it arose in Ethiopia, didn't it, with the Dead Sea Scrolls or something?
Yep. I mean, generally, what I don't know if you've heard, but what I hear is it could have been Enoch or Revelation. They just decided to include Revelations instead of the Book of Enoch in terms of canon.
Interesting. Well, I was looking up today. I was looking up Genesis 1, just through all the different versions of the Bible, all the the New International Version, the King James, blah blah blah.
The King James original.
Yeah, the English translation, the Jewish translation, blah blah blah. And it was quite interesting that you came to about 3 or 4 versions that didn't even have Genesis 1 in them. It switched over to Matthew 1.
Well, here I just found one. What, really? That's odd.
That's what I thought.
Have you looked at the 1599 Geneva Bible?
No.
Because the first book of that is called Moses, called Genesis. And in the very first line, it says, God created the heaven and the earth.
Heaven singular.
Singular. The light and the darkness, comma, the firmament, comma, he separateth the water from the earth, period. That's the first real sentence in the Geneva Bible. From the early 1600 basically.
Well, from what I researched today, the earlier Bibles had God created the heaven, and the later Bibles, the more funky, trendy Bibles, had heavens. Sorry, Karen.
And I would say that's exactly what you've been saying to me for quite a while, is if you go back earlier in history, you can almost see the truth before they started manipulating and changing all the history books and manipulating and inserting new text slowly over time and changing the Bibles.
Yeah.
So
this stuff's physical. We can go back and we can get encyclopedias from 1899 or whatever, and it will say things in there that they could never get away with saying 70 years later or whatever.
No, not with the internet, not with hard drives, not with the CIA,
but
NS,
these things exist physically, and you can go to auction houses and buy them. You can actually grab a copy of these things. This is why photocopies and facsimiles and stuff
and libraries
online,
in general.
Microfiches and all that sort of thing are so valuable.
They're going to be our saviors. I mean, for proving this. That's why I think they make dystopian movies like Equilibrium.
The truth is uncovered.
Oh, there's Josh. He's stringing it together. Awesome.
Oh my God! It's flat Earth.
The wonders of the world.
My name's Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I wish I could do custom sounds.
John, the one that I subscribed to was the 21st century King James version. And this is the one I grew up with and I remember. But then I also remember it being switched because we switched Bibles halfway through to the NIV. But here's the one I grew up with. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That's what I remember as the first sentence.
Yeah. That's exactly what I remember.
Mm-hmm. And that is the King James 21st century. But if you look at some versions, it's changed to heavens, as is New Living Translation, all the Reformed ones.
You know what we've got to do is go back to the original Hebrew and work out whether it was heavens or heaven. Because
let's see if I can do that now.
A massive difference. And
have you guys ever heard of a lamsa?
About
Sorry, go ahead.
Lamsa.
He's got it's a version. It was translated from the ancient Sanskrit, and it shows the different versions and different maybe alterations that may have occurred in mistranslations. It's a really interesting version of the Bible. I've got a copy upstairs. I'll bring it down.
No, I haven't, but if you have, look up Genesis 1 and see if it says God created the heavens or the heaven.
Ooh, in the Jewish Bible, in the CJB,
it says heaven.
The complete Jews, it says heavens.
Yeah.
The earth was unformed and void. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny though. They're very smart, hey, John. Like they attacked little things that mean so much in a big context that over time would like completely change the message. But it's done so cleverly and so subtly and so lengthily. That's hilarious. But over a long period of time. Kind of like their tactics usually is like the lobster tactic, the slow boil.
It's the classic, isn't it? It's the tiptoe, the totalitarian tiptoe. It's the change things over 100, 200 years.
But they're such good charlatans that now they've got us jumping in the pool with arms wide open. They've figured it out so good how to get us in the pod that we don't want to leave the pod, and we dive in the pod, and we buy the pod, and we live in the pod, and we smoke the pod. Every single thing we want to be in there and cooking, oblivious to what's outside.
That's it. We pay for our own slavery.
Absolutely.
We're not dealing with idiots.
Mm-mm. But then if you bring it back to the whole theme of what me, you, and Walt were talking about, it says, and they're going to be high level, the ultimate trickster, right? You're dealing with the top, the ultimate.
Well, it says they're going to deceive the rulers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is what we're seeing right now. Ask anyone whether the world is flat, and they'll laugh in your face.
Oh, hey, John, now that Josh is here, he can see my links on the chat page, and he can put them into the room for you. Josh, do you mind putting my link in the room?
Not at all.
Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, yeah, Josh.
What's happening, fellas?
The Have No Fear technical team is live.
You are the best listener, I tell you. You're just...
He's a gem.
Yeah, he's just there in the background listening. It's brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Someone has to. Well, us idiots get our boobery together.
That's right. It's the classic role, isn't it? When we fall off the track or lose our train of thought, like I am now.
I know. Yeah, poor guy too. If you get nervous, you just dish off. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah,
he's always there to be like,
concrete,
well,
the
I
concrete,
think
the
so.
glue, the glue of
What's
the whole
worse?
thing.
I'm absolutely no better at staying on track.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
always there.
You have that voice that just brings everything back.
That's right. That's right. Voice for radio.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a face for radio.
If you guys know me, you'd say I was smarter than I looked.
What do you look
So which links am I putting up?
The Genesis, the 2 Enochs HTM one that I put up 21 minutes ago.
All right, I got you. It's up. I just got to share it.
You know, James, I couldn't have spoken a word on this 3 weeks ago.
Ooh, it's fresh, so that's good.
Well, I'm reading that book, that Genesis 6 conspiracy, and it's great. It's bringing it from all angles. I know he's a Christian and believes in I don't even know how to say it. I'll just say the word Jesus. But he's taking it from a Gnostic point of view, a Freemason point of view, a Mayan point of view, a Chinese point of view, everything. It's just really good tying it all together. Sorry, Karen.
The bottom point, the conclusion of it all, I'll just read, is like, if you believe there's 2 Enochs, the first lived in rebellion against God, and the second one sought to like please and obey him, and that's like the difference between the saved and the unsaved today. The relationship that Enoch had can be ours too, right? And that's the ending of that whole PDF that I sent through the grapevine to you and your service.
So you can sort of choose which Enoch you go for.
Yeah, almost. It kind of parallels the 2 dogs story, right?
Yeah.
That you feed. That is pretty weird, man. Have you heard this one, John? It's going to blow your mind. What do you remember? The Lion and the Lamb or the Wolf and the Lamb?
I remember the Lion and the Lamb, and I asked my wife the same, and she remembered the Lion and the Lamb, but apparently now it's the Wolf and the Lamb.
Absolutely. And I remember the Lion and the Lamb.
Yeah.
We all do.
Well, I mean, I remember tapestries and stuff in old European cathedrals and stately homes that had the Lion and the Lamb. You know, there was no Wolf and the Lamb, that's for sure.
No. No.
But yeah, another Mandela Effect.
That one really is confusing me. That one freaks me out because, I don't know, my general opinion is that most Mandela Effect stuff can be explained. If I really dig into it, most of them are explainable.
Yeah,
like, the company changes, like Berenstain could just be a publisher thing for money, and they don't announce those things, right? They just do it.
Yeah.
Some of the, like Jiffy Peanut Butter and Jif, so it probably is the same brand. At one point they called it Jiffy, now they shortened it. You know, most of that shit's explainable.
Yeah.
But there are some genuine, deep-seated ones that are unexplainable. And those are the ones I'd like to kind of thumb up tonight and unveil here and see if we can get a good squawk on about.
Which ones do you think? What say your top 3?
The Lindbergh baby is definitely a huge one, man. Do you remember it being found or not?
Sorry, what's that? The Lindbergh baby?
Yeah.
I've not heard of that one. Anyone else?
This was new to me too. I hadn't heard of the Mandela Effect. I was aware of Charles Lindbergh because the plane he flew was the Spirit of St. Louis. So we actually have it hanging in our international airport. We have the Lindbergh's airplane in our airport. So I was vaguely aware of this story. So this one was kind of a shocker to me too.
So what's the story?
So I'll just explain the story then for you here. Hold up. So basically, the idea is a whole bunch of people think that the baby was never found, and then the other side remembers the baby being found. That's the basic premise of it. Kind of like the Mandela Effect in general, you know, somebody being dead or alive.
Start from the beginning. Where did a baby come from?
So Charles Lindbergh was like a pilot. He was famous for, I think, flying across the Atlantic or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. Like I said, I vaguely remember this as a kid. Apparently, he'd started kind of getting involved in politics and sort of the political climate.
Yep.
And his child suddenly disappeared.
He was kidnapped.
As I recall, right out of his house, as I recall. This is again. I should read up on this and get the story straight.
His child was kidnapped from his home in Hopewell, New Jersey, between 8 and 10 p.m. on Tuesday, March 1st, 1932.
And the way I always heard it was just one of those things. He was never found. Like Amelia Earhart, the Lindbergh baby was just never found.
Right.
I've always connected those two because of the airplanes, the Amelia Earhart and the Lindbergh baby that were never found.
Yeah. So where's the Mandela effect?
So the official story is that the baby was found in 1932 or something like that. I can't confirm that, but that's the official,
I didn't see where it was found. I saw like a death report, and I saw that, there was a whole story on how it wasn't even a big deal. 2 months
later, apparently it was found in May, 2 months after he was kidnapped, and he was, dead. Huh. But most people don't remember that. They don't remember it at all. They remember it, like Josh said, never found, nothing ever heard from ever again.
Wow, that's interesting. Not a singularity either. I mean, this has happened numerous times. I mean, from what I imagine, down in Bogota and Colombia, people's kids get kidnapped all the time, or I'm playing devil's advocate, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Some of the weirdest things about Mandela Effect that I've heard about has come out in the last few days, and it's people saying that they've noticed like recent memories are being manipulated, and I believe somebody even in our group or on Twitter was saying that earlier ideas and memes and stories were almost being erased or changed and remembered differently.
Anything
or unfindable. No, nothing specific, but it would be an interesting proposition that it would not only affect massive mass scale historical memories that we have, that also real time or some pretty real time changes to our individual timelines.
Yeah, I've got an issue with the old timeline splitting, and I just can't see it myself. I can't test it, I can't observe it, I can't measure it, any of those things.
So here's another one, right? I'm reading up on it now. Mother Teresa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember her being a saint?
She was recently sainted.
No, she wasn't. She is about to be on September 4th, 2016.
Okay, yeah, I read something that she was going to...
In the 90s, you thought, John?
No, this was recently, this year. I remember I said to my wife over the dinner table or whatever, they're going to Saint Teresa, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she was like, "What? Well, what miracle does she perform?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have no idea." But yeah, I'd heard that. But what's the Mandela effect on that one?
Some recall her being named a saint in the 1990s. Some are sure that she was given sainthood while she was alive. Some specifically reference Pope John Paul II as the Pope who approved her sainthood.
I definitely remember her being sainted when she was alive, because I remember seeing something in the papers or
I do too.
A headline saying, first person to be sainted while they're alive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can look at some landmark recognitions I have here. So we'll see in 1962, she was given the Magsaysay Award for International Understanding. In 69, she was in a feature film. She was featured in the film Something Beautiful for God. In 1971, she was awarded... Is someone blending something? What is that?
Sounds like kids on motorcycles that it robs.
Yep.
Or a chainsaw.
Oh, he's doing the lawn, he said. He's doing housework.
Sounds like you got the chainsaw out.
Yep.
That's a belt sander or something.
John Paul waves the usual. Great show, Rob. Great show.
Is that Walt or is it Rob? It's got to be Rob, hasn't it?
Yeah, the guy next door to me on the chainsaw. I'll just give him a hand. I'll mute myself. I'll just jump the
James,
fence and
what
give
were you
it.
saying, mate?
I was just giving the guy next door a hand with his chainsaw. He's cutting down a tree. Forgot I didn't have his on mute.
As long as you're not chopping anybody up on that. No, so she was, Pope John Paul was involved in, he began the beatification process, whatever that is.
Yeah.
That must be the process of being sainted or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently in 2003, though, she was officially beatified, and according to the Vatican, they recognized the second of two required miracles in 2015. But her official sainthood will take place September 4th, 2016, upcoming.
What did they list as her miracles?
She didn't rot. Was probably one of them. The longevity of her flesh is probably one of them. That's why they lay it in state so long, is so they can see how long it lasts.
Beautiful.
We're talking about Mother Teresa, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wasn't she instrumental in the nuclear scene?
I think so.
Do something with X-rays, as far as I know, she died of cancer from X-rays.
Yeah, because she wouldn't get treatment, or what?
Yeah. So no, it was exposure to X-rays or something along those lines. When did she die?
1997.
Bloody hell.
That long ago. Jeez.
Yeah. So anyways, that's another one. Here's another hot one right now: is who remembers Leonardo DiCaprio winning an award for Best Actor
in Titanic?
Okay. Right. Everybody thinks so, but he never won it.
No, I didn't think he'd won it for Titanic. It had Best Picture, but I don't think he'd get the Best Actor award.
I never even watched the film.
So a lot of people are getting reports of clear memories of DiCaprio winning the Best Actor for Titanic, including 1998 talk show replays of his acceptance speech. That's interesting.
So what do you reckon? Did he win or not?
No, I didn't personally think, but that seems to be one of
the funny one, isn't he? He's got to be one of these child trauma.
Victims. Monarchs, absolutely,
yeah.
For sure.
He met with the Pope recently. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and he had a flat Earth reference on it. Oh, come on, it was like.
And he was asking the interpretation of a Hieronymus Bosch
painting.
Yeah, and the Pope apparently said, "This is what's to come." If you know the Hieronymus Bosch painting, then
of course
it's not a nice thing for the Pope to say, "This is to come." Good grief.
Yeah.
So are we going to be doing a show tonight?
I think we are doing a show right now, my man.
I think we are.
Are you live? Are you broadcasting?
I'm recording.
Recording, but not broadcasting. We're going to need some editing anyways, but we should do a live one. Let's go live. I'm ready. If Rob's ready, done his yard work. And Walt comes back. Walt's supposed to come back after his dinner. Maybe message him, see if he's ready.
Okay, it's 2:20 in the morning here, so I'm ready for
right now. Yeah, no shit. You know, the thing I think we should stay away from, the ones that are the most easily explained, are the deaths, because it's so easy. Like, so many people have reported fake deaths. It's almost like a thing, you know, how people thought this guy died on the internet and everyone went nuts. That you can go really easy off track, like Patrick Swayze, right? I remember hearing all these reports, like he's got a full recovery, but he was like dead.
David Bowie and Elvis.
Yep.
Michael Jackson. How do you prove whether these guys are alive or not? There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
Things you can prove, you know, print text and, you know, the front of your DVD cover that says interview with a vampire, not the vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't prove if anyone's alive or dead.
No, but here's the thing, right? The book could have been called The, and the movie was and then somehow they got changed, you know?
That's exactly what I think happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so people watched CNN and it said The, and people watched Fox and it said and it entirely depends on what your upbringing or what you're exposed to is.
What do you like? I just think it's kind of hard. Like, remember Fidel Castro? He's still alive. Is he? He's supposed to be dead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's my next door neighbour. Prove
Yeah.
me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He mowed my lawn this morning. Yeah, go on then. But the front covers of DVDs and things like that are worth discussing. Whether people are alive or dead is not really worth discussing because no one can prove it either way.
Yep.
Are the stars a million miles away or are they 1,000 miles away? Who knows?
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and stick to the non-personal ones for when we go live or edit, whatever.
I mean, it's not. That was a bad analogy actually, because it's a really good topic to talk about whether the stars are close or far. But yeah, you know what I mean. There's no point talking about these things if no one can prove it either way.
The whole thing is just a juicy piece of cheese for us, though, man, because we've always, as people, craved anything time travel, anything history changing or timelines or altered universes, parallel universes, string theory. It's just exciting, even though it's shit we probably shouldn't be looking at and playing with. It's very attractive.
I used to play with all of that stuff.
Of course, so did I, yeah.
And be fascinated by it. I'd download MP3s and everything and listen to them, but ever since Flat Earth's come along, everything's just been simplified, and none of that actually exists in my reality anymore. It just doesn't need to exist anymore. It's like space aliens. It's like shit. Screw space aliens. We've got puddles all around us if we chose to believe that, and any number of any species could come in. They don't need spaceships or anything else. They just need a way to get across the ice plane to get to us.
Big sled.
Yeah, and that's infinitely more exciting than space aliens.
Do you personally believe that it's different from a false memory, or do you think like this could be just a big group false memory, like follow the leader? If enough people believe it, you'll just jump in, but it's really just a big false memory thing.
As in, none of it is real, or
yeah, like it's just we're causing ourselves to remember false memories because other people are suggesting it, or is it because really in essence the actual effect is when people are misremembering, right? If it's not really happening, we're obviously misremembering it as a group and creating this phenomenon ourselves. And I kind of don't know where I stand because a lot of what I'm seeing I've debunked. But there are some big ones that you can't, and that freaks the shit out of me. I just hope we can kind of, like the Mandela death. I do remember him dying and hearing about it.
I think he probably did. And then
but I don't want to.
Thought, oh shit, we could use him again. Let's just put out. They're so dumb. Let's just put out that we're going to release him and turn him into a candidate for peace for the entire world. I think he did die when we heard he died.
Yeah.
And then they changed their mind. How many times did we hear that Bin Laden died? At least 6 times.
At least 5 times, I was going to say.
Yeah, and then, how many times have we heard that they found the life on Mars and water on Mars and all these other things that we keep hearing again and again. But unless you're awake to, keep a track of these things, then they're going to assume you're asleep and not keeping a track of these things. So they're just going to repeat the same bullshit every now and again, and we're just going to go, bloody hell.
Wouldn't it be terrible though if they could just do that over time and completely screw us over? Like that would be. It's such a fucking brilliant weapon to change your memories, because nothing hurts more than being displaced. Like think about people's biggest fears, right? They don't want to be not schizophrenic. What do you call it when you lose your mind at the end and you don't recognize your own children? Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Right. So imagine if you did that with your memories and you actually didn't believe your own childhood memories and you couldn't tell what was real because every time you look back it was changed again. And no, sorry, Earth Angel wasn't the song in Back to the Future that you remember. It's something else now. It would make you literally feel so disconnected.
And I think that's the idea. I think that's the whole idea of the Mandela Effect and everything we're experiencing is to cause us disorientation and confusion and fear,
Yep.
and I think that's exactly what it's designed to do.
Then it would be explainable. It's just another tip of the spear for the big event, right? The defeminization of the men, which has been going on in the programs. You saw the homosexuality and all that ramp up in the last 10 years. The, fluoridation to make us weaker and less, apt to form groups and stand up against the government. All these programs to sort of prepare us all, to make us docile for the time when they attack.
Yeah, I think it's overall death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And everything adds up to a paper cut. The chemtrails, the fluoride, everything in the water and the food and all our bad habits, everything adds up to a tiny paper cut that has basically reduced our living age from what we were given 120, and now we think we're doing well at 80. So they've reduced our living expectations, by 20%, 30%. No one's batting an eyelid.
That makes sense. We're just heading back to the fact again. Here's one that's good. That's non-person is the Looney Tunes. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, with an I and a Y or something?
No. So the one that you look and search is Looney, Looney, Tunes, Tunes.
Oh, that's right.
But I specifically was one of the people that remember it Toons, Looney Tunes, as in cartoons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that one's been unexplainable for me.
Yeah, no, I'm the same, but I cannot remember whether it was Tunes or Toons. I seem to remember Toons, OONES. But yeah, I couldn't attest to it. I couldn't attest to Sex in the City. I couldn't attest to Luke, I am your father. I couldn't attest any of these. It just sounds familiar.
So that just made me think here. If it's really very, very clever and designed by very smart people, one thing I've noticed is that every single person that believes in it can relate to one thing, like one thing they remember out of their childhood, and that's what hooks them.
Sure. But that's the same with most, with most things. Is that you had a brother, sister's father-in-law that died in 9/11, or a sister's boyfriend's plumber who saw Boston bombings or something. It's something to grab hold of. It's a sort of grasp on reality that your great 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 uncle's father or brother was on the Titanic or something that makes you go, yeah, it was absolutely true. There's no doubt about it. It was absolutely true. But if you dig down and go, well, how do you know? Well, because he was my brother's uncle's father. But how do you know that? It comes back all the time, every single time, to trusting and believing and having faith in a belief that they don't actually know is true.
Yeah, and if you look into the actual mechanics of the brain and you look into examples, you find out you can manipulate memories. You can fool yourself into thinking things existed that didn't under certain conditions, right? And that's scary stuff.
Well, I mean, then you get into the realms of MK Ultra and
absolutely
trauma-based mind control and
subconscious programming.
Yeah,
memory swapping or creating things. What about this one here? I like this one. Is shoot, come on. Oh, Billy Graham, not Billy Graham. Do you remember him dying?
Billy Graham. He was the evangelist, was he?
I'll just put out in the chat that we're going live on the air very shortly. So if anybody wanted to join, they should do it now.
Whatever we were talking about for the last 45 minutes was quite a good.
All right, can you see what I'm pointing at, Dean?
Oh yeah, hold on, we're live. There we go.
Oh, right on. Josh, are you there? Oh, he's put it up on the screen though, John.
What's that?
The two Enochs that we were talking about hours ago.
That's been up there for fucking ages.
Oh, I just noticed it.
The two Oh yeah, I was reading that earlier. Yeah, that was a good conversation. We should make a note if you're going to carry on this conversation. Talk about Enoch.
And the
Yeah, the
Anunnaki,
heavens,
Nephilim, Atlanteans.
yeah, the heavens
Yeah.
of heaven. If it's
Yep.
going to be, what do you think about that, Rob? Were you listening? The fact that half.
No, I wasn't. No, I don't get into that shit. But
No, but
no, I don't.
there's a big. I'm not into. I'm not into that stuff either. But I do research it, and the fact that half the Bible say, in the beginning God made the heaven, and the other half say in the beginning God made the heavens. Now, from a flat Earth point of view, that's a big fucking difference. The heaven and the heavens, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
An S on the end of a word makes it a plural.
Yeah, right. So, there's your multiverses, there's your endless universe, or, singular heaven and earth. There's your up and your down.
I've got one that both of you guys, it's probably around your time frame, would get. And I don't know if you've heard it, but let me ask you guys, in the movie Field of Dreams, do you remember that movie, the baseball one with Kevin Costner?
They.
Yeah, what's the line? Yeah. And do you know what it really is, though?
He.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build it and they will come is what I remember. Build it and he will come is what others remember.
Definitely they will come because it was
100%.
all of the baseballers. It was the whole team.
Yeah,
the whole team went and played on his baseball fucking diamond. So it was definitely they.
Well, who's he?
I've got a clip. I got to send it to Josh here. Hold on. How do I do that here?
Save it for the show. Come on. Save it for the show, man.
Yeah, no, I'm pre-queuing it now for the show, so Josh can just pull it.
When is the show?
I know. Fucking Walt must be having the all-you-can-eat buffet, man.
I'll tell you, I've been recording.
Smorgasbord, this guy's been going at it.
How long are we going there? I've been recording for 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Jeez.
Alright, so I'll tell you what, with a bit of editing, we've probably got an awesome show here. With a lot of editing, should I say.
Yep.
We've probably got a really good 10-minute show.
Fantastic little intro, maybe. Oh, man. See, where did Josh go? That's what I don't understand.
That dumb bastard just gets up and disappears and doesn't say anything. And just comes right back.
That's it.
Always listening in the background.
Yep, the perfect listener.
So the show's going to start, and you're going to go, what about the Mandela Effect? And everyone's just going to go, yeah, whatever. Fucking,
yep.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I'm done with it.
Can I say that I thought we'd already done this one?
I think
it wasn't like, sorry, this, if you build it, he will come, the Field of Dreams one?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, about an hour back.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't long after I came into the group because I was watching the movie. I was literally at the time watching, or just finished it when this conversation came up.
Today.
Yeah.
No.
2.25 hours of recorded audio.
Today, so, Josh, you watched it.
No, this is months ago.
We were talking about it about an hour ago.
No, we weren't.
Oh, really?
It was like just now. I literally just brought it up to you and Rob.
Yeah, but I remember us talking about it about an hour ago.
No, we can go through the recording. You will not hear about it.
We just had our own fucking Mandela Effect.
I'm telling you, dude, we didn't bring it up until now. Just like literally 10 minutes ago with Rob.
Wow, who was I talking about? The Field of Dreams.
Me.
Was that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, yeah, right. So someone else dropped.
It was a while back.
All right.
Rob, go on, and we're talking about something. Rob drops off. You guys come back. Yeah. Fuck
okay.
Me, that was a bit weird.
Sorry, don't make it be crazy. Sorry.
I'm in and out. Yeah.
No, I've got 2.25 hours recorded, so I might actually go back and cut this through and just show people how easy it is for
Did you
something
guys
like the Mandela Effect to take
to take hold? Yeah. What's the status here? Have we talked about Tiananmen Square tonight, or no?
Not here.
Okay.
Not with me. There's that change.
That's an interesting one too. I thought that was a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, because a lot of people swear they see the guy got run over in the blood stain. You know, they cut away, but then you saw the blood. You know, that's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
What about you guys?
No, I never saw that.
That's the way I always remember it. It was
him.
it cut away, but he had gotten run over, and that was part of the tragedy of the Tiananmen Square massacre.
Yeah,
was the tank man getting run over.
Yep, that one.
All part of the tragedy.
Died. Yeah.
I saw him standing in front of the tank, and then the tank moving either left or right, and then he moved left or right, and then it cut away.
And you don't remember whether or not he was killed, or what the story was at the time?
No, it was never shown. No.
Well, there's video of him dropping his groceries and climbing on top of it and jumping up and down.
What? Wow.
Yeah. He's like climbing. He's on the top of the tank. No, they didn't.
No,
not
here. But did you see him getting run over then?
No, but I didn't think that's something that they would show on the nightly news. As a kid, this is what I'm thinking. Of course, they're not going to show me this person getting run over by the tank. So that's probably why the camera cuts away. But the story, I mean, I don't remember specifically the story, but I remember thinking that that's what happened.
But what I'm saying is that I don't remember him being run over. He was standing in front of the tank and dodging left and right, and the tank was doing the same. But you were saying that you saw like blood splatter and this, that, and the other, or
yeah, a lot of people remember it cutting, but that there was, you know, the one death, and that there was blood from where he got run over. But that was the whole outcome of it. He sacrificed, or he got run over. And
I remember him just standing in front of the tank, stopping the tank, and then that was it. He was the hero for stopping the tank. Yeah. I don't remember him getting run over.
I wonder.
That's interesting.
It was YouTube like CGI, year project.
Then what was the massacre at Tiananmen Square?
Oh yeah. Obviously apparently there was.
Didn't they open fire on a bunch?
Yeah, they opened fire on the students. Yeah, but then that guy stopped the tank. The soldiers didn't want to run him over.
Wasn't Tiananmen Square a long time before the Tank Man Tiananmen Square ceremony?
The death toll was huge, though.
Something else. I seem to remember Prince Duck or whatever his name is, the Queen's bloke, going over talking about Tiananmen Square and or Tiananmen. I don't know. Wasn't it a commemoration of something much older?
I don't know if that's... See, from what I'm getting out, they killed like thousands of people the day after, or it was the day before the actual white-shirted tank man came out.
Right.
Like, that's where the massacre part comes from it. Like, they actually opened fire on them. Estimates are, like, so over the map for it. It's like some estimate 700, some estimate 1,000, 7,000, you know? Because there was a crowd of over 10K.
So he started the revolution, basically, by standing up to the tank, and then everyone turned around the next day saying, you know, well, if one man can do it, then why can't we all? And then they shot a bunch of people.
Yeah, like basically he did that because all those people died the day before. Because the government flipped out and shot the protesters, he went and stood in front of the tank.
The other way around, then. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that makes sense too. I mean, this was back in the 80s, wasn't it?
89?
89, right, yeah, so... Yeah, beyond... long before I was politically aware, that's for sure. When did people become politically aware? Like you guys? Mine was probably 2001.
For me, is when 9/11 happened. I suppose when I found out that 9/11 was bullshit, you know, that's when you know the government's starting to lie to you.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was. I was a sheep.
Mm.
Who would have thought that the government would do that to their own people?
Hmm.
Yeah. What about you, James?
I'd say around, maybe early 2000s, I started getting into the fake space and the alien shit, and then from there to the occult stuff, did that circuit, and then it just, 9/11 was cement.
Yeah, right.
So it was a big one.
Josh?
I mean, I've always had like an inkling. It seems like I remember being very young and getting into things like the Philadelphia experiment and coming to terms with the fact that the government's doing these, crazy secret experiments that's creating casualties and not necessarily telling us the truth about it. And this is probably back in elementary school. But there was still not an actual realization that that's the reality that I lived in. I accepted that as a potential fact, but it didn't necessarily – I didn't see how it affected me and my life. I didn't really kind of become self-aware in politics probably until even later than the early 2000s. It was probably mid to late 2000s, probably 2007, 2008, something like that.
Did you guys do the banker circuit too when you started getting aware of the political system, which is like the fractional banking system, the Federal Reserve, Yeah.
I came at this at law first.
Right,
and
me
then
too.
Found the banking system and then found everything else after that.
Mm-hmm. I love looking at the old stuff, like you mentioned earlier, the MK Ultra stuff. Oh man, it's fascinating to me. It's like, did you guys see what I posted the other day about Hillary Clinton? I mean, call it demonic, call it not. The fact is, it reminds me of when people are MK butterfly. Like she had a seizure in the restaurant. Like it was interesting.
It didn't really necessarily look like she had a seizure.
No.
Nah.
Pictures of Clinton recently, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Of him falling asleep, looking real creepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the clip when he was getting the makeup on and he was totally out of it, under control.
That was what, 30 years ago, and it was exactly the same. It was like click. You are now a zombie, and it was the same sort of thing. He was just there, and that was Hillary's. I don't know what the hell it was. I don't get involved with politics, but that was the Hillary Clinton big finale, and he looked like an absolute zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I think John Hinckley shot Lennon. Is that right?
Yep.
Was that the guy? I think that might have been involved with that, and the guy who shot Robert Kennedy.
No, Hinckley shot.
Was he a Mexican? Was he a?
Yeah,
Hinckley
shot Reagan.
I'm thinking. Yeah. Well, he might have been as well, but the guy who shot Lennon, I think, and the guy who shot Robert Kennedy. I think he was a Mexican or something. He doesn't remember anything at all about it, and he's rotting away in jail or whatever. He doesn't remember anything.
That's funny.
And there's guys at the what's that guy at the Batman shooting? Have you seen him in court?
James Holmes.
Yeah, James Holmes. That's a fucking zombie.
Oh yeah.
And his father was an MK Ultra or a
trainer.
His father was involved in psycho babble stuff.
Have you seen the one on Tiger Woods as well? Tiger Woods' old man probably did it to Tiger.
No.
To become a good golfer. Yeah, and Tiger Woods' old man was involved not in the MK Ultra, but the mind control. Not as far as you have to look at it as well. He trained Tiger.
It would really
mind control.
It would really make sense that he was an MK Ultra abused victim because he certainly had that break. Like they have those big breaks. Remember, he had the break where he hit the tree and had that mental collapse. Because you could almost see it. The guy was like, we used to say he was like a machine, a robot, right? But that could be somebody perfectly controlled and programmed.
What about Jim Morrison?
Oh, his dad was involved in the military too.
Yeah, well, he was as far as I know, he was the captain of the ship that claimed the Koreans. Oh, sorry, not the Koreans, the Vietnamese.
Vietnamese. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shot at him, which kicked off the entire Vietnamese war in the Gulf Tonkin. And that was Jim Morrison's dad.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't it?
There's a lot to that Tiger Woods thing you're talking about, though. That's very interesting.
I just wanted to finally say this because it finally came to me, and I knew it would. Jim Morrison and all the music that came out of Southern California that was positioned there right next to that like secret Air Force base. The name of the place was called Laurel Canyon. That's where the Tavistock Institute was putting out people like the Doors and Jimi Hendrix and I mean all the big names. The Grateful Dead. These were all basically CIA operations to co-opt the hippie movement into doing nothing, and they did a good job of that. They co-opted the revolution.
Like similar to when the CIA was involved in the Latino rap scene, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And they all came from the same place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same backyard.
All out of Laurel Canyon in Southern California.
Interesting.
Maybe we should do an MK Ultra show as well.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at this Tiger Woods thing. It's blowing my mind. Like, there is so much to that. Wow. NLP, neuro-linguistic, the code words, the keywords, the different examples of when he came in and out of his handler, his father and the satanic connection. Wow. There is a lot to that Tiger Woods thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty smart.
Yes, you are. They're saying they do that a lot, and it's all control of the major figureheads. They do it in the music industry, in the sports industry, in the political industry. They have all these people that they control, right?
Who thinks Serena Williams is a man?
I do,
Put up your
100%.
hand. Anyone?
I do.
Yeah.
So is Jennifer Aniston.
What?
Jennifer Aniston.
You didn't say Jennifer Aniston.
I did. I'm sorry, dude. You'll go through it too. Don't worry. I had some really hard times going through that one, but you will see.
Yay! I got the tree down.
Literally pissing myself here.
We're going to have a piss.
It's like the same as Michael Obama. I mean,
that one I believe.
So Jennifer Aniston is a bloke.
Yep.
Is that the claim? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
He's fucking hot. What are you on about?
Just take a look at it, Rob. I hate to disappoint you. It's going to be a sad day, but at the end, you will come to terms with the fact that, unfortunately, it's a man.
Is this what's the guy who compares ears and says?
Oh, I love that guy, dude. He's amazing.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. He's my guilty obsession, though. He's funny.
Name?
I have him on my YouTube channel. Hold on, I'll dig him up. Like Kristen Bell is Avril Lavigne. She is, though. I totally believe that.
What? What'd you say?
Kristen Bell is Avril Lavigne.
I'm happy to say I don't
You start looking at their husbands, and it's the same guy. Like, it's just hilarious.
Damn, what's his name?
Jennifer Aniston is a man. Oh my fucking god.
Donald Rumsfeld is his name.
Wait, that's a bit fucking loud.
Rumsfeld's a man, isn't he? Dallas Goldberg.
Dallas Goldberg.
Does that ring a bell?
No, I was saying Donald Rumsfeld. No. That's the guy's name.
I think Dallas.
Which guy?
Goldberg is
the guy who does the ear comparisons on the videos that say like people are certain people, like they're alters in real life.
Are you sure that's Donald Rumsfeld is a politician?
No, I know, but that's here. Hold on, you'll see. I'm gonna share the fucking link. Sorry, Jesus, good lord.
Donald Rumsfeld, is the U.S. presidential candidate.
But you'll see immediately when I share. This is exactly what you're talking about, though.
Oh,
with
you mean like
the ears and the other people being other people?
Yeah, with
this is him.
Rumsfeld is
the YouTube channel name,
whatever, or
right.
But the guy who's doing it his name is Dallas Goldberg, as far as I know.
Maybe that's his channel. But it's interesting stuff. But Rob, have you looked into the Maniston thing yet?
Aniston or Maniston?
That's what I call her now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the one I just clicked on there was a debunk video. So the bloke was saying it is a girl.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. But I saw the other ones there. I can't. No, I like Jennifer. I'm not going to let you talk about it like that.
Well, it's a tough one. But we can agree on, like, He-Man, the tennis star, right? That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, she looks like a man. She's built like a man. She's got
she has the telltale. She has the signs, right? It's all in the right and left hands.
Yeah.
Michelle Obama
Every time
has
she's
the
on there,
same thing.
every time that she's on there, smashing the ball and hitting the ball as hard as a man and against the other girls, and the commentators go, "Oh, she played well." And I go, "That's because she's a man. That's because she's a man. I'm going to play against the guys. See how she goes."
The one I want you to watch
he goes.
is has like 2 million views, and it's by a guy called Pockets of the Future, and the title, Rob, is over 95% chance Michelle Obama and Jennifer Aniston born men. That's the name.
Yeah, I saw that there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever you have time. It's a long one.
I wonder how they worked out the statistics on that.
Through chemistry and biology, a lot of it, because it has to do with the differences biologically between men and women and their bones in their hand.
So, what are we doing? Are we giving up? Are we? Or what?
It's funny. I'm at the point where John said what happened, where we're waiting, and then all of a sudden you don't even want to talk about Mandela anymore.
Yeah, it's actually getting to the point where you're bored with it, and it might come across now. It might come across in your conversation.
Mm-hmm. What were you just saying, though? That we were moving on to other stuff. That was kind of exciting. What were we just talking about?
Yeah, MK
oh yeah,
Ultra. You could easily do a show on MK Ultra, easily.
Yep.